All right, residents of Tredemore Estates in the Lugbe area of Abuja are protesting the planned demolition of buildings in the estate. They are demanding that the government improve the waterways in order to tackle the persistent flooding in the area instead of demolishing buildings. Well, the Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, declared the estate a disaster area following massive flooding on June 23, which left residents trapped and houses submerged. Well, subsequently, the FCTA said buildings on the waterways in the estate and other areas will be demolished. But speaking on behalf of the residents, Adewale Adelaide said Trademore is not a disaster zone, but a disaster in leadership of the FCTA, which he said has failed to address persistent flooding in the area. He also said instead of tackling the flooding headlong, FCTA wants to adopt what he calls lazy engineering approach by demolishing buildings. Well, Adelaide said occupants of the estate will resist the demolition of buildings in the area with all they have, and I'm quoting him now. And he also said there is a court order prohibiting the demolition of buildings in the estate, adding that no action should be taken until the case is determined. Oh well, we'll be staying with John on this one. John Akirele, who's joined us virtually, and we'll also be having Charles Ideho, a journalist and public affairs analyst, join us virtually as well. Charles, are you with us now? Good morning, Charles.
Yeah. Okay. Good morning. Thanks for having me one more
So we
time.
have John and
Always,
Charles.
yes.
Now,
Always
gentlemen,
refreshing, yeah.
this Trademore estate, residents are saying that the estate has approval. They have papers to prove that it was acquired, and former minister of the FCT, El Rufai, was there during the, he appended his signature to it, gave them the estate to build, and they went ahead to build. But now, the FCTA is saying that the houses were built on waterways. It's a lowland area. The topography is low, so water gathers there, and so the way to go is demolition. Charles, what do you make of this?
Okay. Well, first, let's clarify certain things here. When the residents are saying they are brandishing certified documents to say that the estate was indeed approved, I have no objection to that. But again, it is one thing to have an estate approved. It is another thing to ask you whether you follow the building plan of that estate. Because when you have an estate that is marked out for residential purposes, you have places that are no-go areas. You have places that are marked out as setbacks. You have places that are marked out for maybe for recreational purposes and all that. But in most cases, when such an estate is approved, people just go haywire. I mean, building all manner of structures, whether they meet international best practice or not, nobody cares. Which of course that also brings me to laying blames at the footstep of the government. When you approve a particular structure, do you monitor the building process? Do you monitor structures that are created? For instance, if you have some estates, now maybe about 100 acres of estate, you map it out. Say, okay, this one is going to take a boulevard, for instance. This one is going to take maybe, let's say, a close. This one is going to take maybe a crescent. All these things are supposed to be mapped out in that plan for the estate. Then this area has to do with the sewage system, and then maybe you give. It could be maybe about 5 meters. No, okay, 5 meters may be too long. Maybe a certain level of gap between where you have the sewage system, which is the waterways, and the place which of course you call setback. But in most cases, people encroach upon the setback and build houses upon those things, knowing that that's a disaster to happen. So all this grandstanding that the estate residents are deposing, I think it's not going to work out, because government is is desirous of doing what it needs to do, who suffers is those people who are going to do. All they need to do is to go back to government, let them find a way to, negotiate. Those of them who have structures on those waterways, you get them removed. Those of them who have built maybe encroach upon these areas that have been mapped up for no building purposes, all those buildings should be removed so that lives and property should be safe. Because it is government responsibility to ensure that lives and property are safe in this, whether it's in this country or everywhere. So all this gun study is not going to work. It's not going to favor the estate at all. That's where I start.
All right, John. Can you hear me, John?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so beyond Tredemore estate, there are also other estates that actually have this kind of problem, a problem of water, proper channels whereby water can pass through, possibly sewage, and of course a proper, erection of most of the structures in that particular mapped out area. We've actually had encounters like that in Lagos particularly. Some estates experience this anomaly or this problem whereby the channels through which water can pass through are not properly done. Sometimes the structures are not properly placed, and it's one of the things whereby you see some of the, would I say, proponents of this estate makeup go through. Before the government allows or gives an expenditure or a signage for a go ahead for these estates to be developed, don't you think that due process ought to be followed? And like Mr. Charles rightly stated, that there should be consistent monitoring to go according with the plan that was submitted in the first instance before the estate started off with its development.
I'll start by responding to your question in this manner. A country that does not deal with competence and capacity, that's what we suffer. A country where there are no consequences for actions, that's what the country suffers. A country where accountability, that lacks accountability, that's what the country suffers. Now this is it. We must understand.
Okay.
Well, we have a glitch there.
For us to
the network
build
for John.
Institutions that can stand the test of time.
All right.
Institutions that will outlive people. I can be a minister for works today, and in the next 100 years I can't be a minister for works, even in the next 4 years. But the institution still stands strong. Okay. Now this is it. Can you hear me? Can you hear you? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Hello?
We can hear you. Go ahead, John.
Hello?
Okay, there seems to be a network.
Can you hear you? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, John.
Good. So what I'm saying is, thank you. What I'm saying is this. Way, and not for political reasons. Who gives approval before those structures were erected? Even though they were erected on the waterways. What was the agency in charge of monitoring doing till a house was erected from foundation to maybe 1 story or 2 story? And nobody noticed that something is happening in this area. Are you saying that the government was so blind that they could not see that as at that point in time where those things were still at initial stages? We should cut, when we see things not going in the right way, we should cut it before it gets to the rooftop. Don't allow them to waste more money. Cut it from that foundation level and let them know this place is a no-no. So it means that we have the aspect, the deficiency from the government. The second part where we have another issue is where we have people who always shortchange. Engineers who will shortchange materials in terms of,
Okay. All right, Mr. Charles, can you quickly respond, because there's a glitch where Mr. John is.
Again, I've listened to Mr. John,
Okay.
but I disagree.
Okay, you disagree? All right, go ahead.
Who is
Continue.
on? Am I on?
Yes, you're on. We can hear you.
But I'm still hearing John talking, so that maybe
It's a network, so I don't think he can hear us properly. But you can continue. There's a serious clip there.
Okay.
It's a network.
Okay.
I think
All right.
we
So
should mute
let
him.
me say that I disagree totally with him.
Okay.
You see, it doesn't pay us as a country to always be militant in our approach to issues that concern human lives. As John said again.
Okay.
How come that the people who want to buy land, even in Abuja?
Can I go on now?
Go on, please.
Said it doesn't pay us let me repeat, it doesn't pay us for us to be militant, to always be daggers drawn every time when you have certain issues that have to do with human lives, as the case of Tredemore that we're discussing now is. All right. Now John is saying that when we were the authorities, when we were building from ground floor to the roof and all that, the question, a rhetorical question I like to ask John, if he's hearing me, is that do you require a government to come hold your hand, tie your hand behind you when you want to kill yourself? No. Now that waterway, people should know that there will be rainy season, even if they are building during the dry season. There will be rainy season, and you know that water will always find its level. You can't stop water from looking for its level. For instance, where I live in Yokoba here in Lagos, there's a canal not quite far away. Every rainy season here, 1, 2, 3, 5% are always victims. About 2 weeks ago, a whole marwa, a whole keke nape, not keke nape per se, a whole tricycle was swept away with children and about no fewer than 5%. Waterways that they created a part on. So what I'm saying first, that if you are buying any property, you are buying any land somewhere, you need to also do due diligence on your own, because people want to sell land to you, want to make money. They may not care about your life, they may not care about your safety, they may not care about any hoot. They don't give any hoot about you. Somebody is offering you land, and you look at it, you look at the possibility of that land to any waterway. Nobody should wait for the government to tie your hand behind you before you reject such an offer. There are other places you have to buy land. There are other places that are even, may not be high land, maybe low land. Okay, are you saying that is it all the residents and that Tredemore estate that were affected? No. Now, when you are put upon the waterway and the water want to always bust, they will look for a way. They will always look for a way. If there are houses that are on their way, they look for that houses and pass through, because there's a journey for that water, and that water must meet its journey. You understand? So all this grandstanding that God is also helping them to say, oh no, government has to do that. And that's why I said disagree with him. All right, if anybody is offering you any house, any property to buy, you must also carry out your own due diligence, so that you don't put your life or your property and your children at risk at all.
All right, so Charles, now let me stay with you on this one. You made a statement which I would rather not agree to, because I don't think anybody would want to use their money, hard-earned, purchase land, use money, hard-earned as well, build a house, only to kill themselves in it. I don't think anybody would want to do that. But how about building a drainage channel? How about building a drainage channel?
I wish I could show you video footages of a place not far away from where I'm speaking. I'm in my sitting room, not far away from here. A building that was erected on the edge of a vicious waterway. When I mean vicious, what I mean by vicious waterway, a building was erected there. Not 1, not 2, not 3. That water swept away until government came there to evacuate them. Now, are you saying that those people really know that being on the edge of the waterway is on its own a risk? That you call it hard-earned? Yes. You take your hard-earned money, you open your eyes, nobody blindfolded you, you come to an edge of a vicious waterway to build there. It don't require government to tell you not to do that. That's why I say it's debatable. Go ahead.
All right. Now, we should look at drainages. As you rightly pointed out, water finds its level, no doubt.
Yeah.
But then water can also be redirected. if drainages are created. Now, from what I could see in the pictures, I didn't see gutters. I didn't see drainages in there. And we know how we build houses here in Nigeria. In fact, if you go to Ikoyi, there are areas in Ikoyi that you would not find a drainage. And when it rains, it floods the place. Specifically, if you're walking on a Cardinal Olubunmi Okoje way, the street where you have the passport office, there are no drainages there. All right. So when it rains, I'm pretty sure those that built houses there did not plan to kill themselves in it. So how about if drainages are created, and then created in such a way, big spacious drainages created in such a way that the water can follow into a canal? Wouldn't that solve the problem?
Okay, well, first, I'm not in the business, but as a journalist of so many years, it has forced me the level of knowledge to understand how these things go. So I'm going to speak from that knowledge level that I've acquired over a number of years in this job as a journalist. But I let you know that, for instance, when you look at city planning, let's use Lagos for instance. You have what they call Trunk A, the Trunk A road. You have the Trunk B, you have the Trunk C. Now, the Trunk C road are the roads that are for local government, the community roads. And so when you have gutters over there, the gutter may not be as wide as that or those of the B. I mean the Trunk B. Now, those gutters in Trunk C are redirected to connect with the gutters of the Trunk B roads. So also you take the gutters from the Trunk B roads that are than the Trunk C into the Trunk A that will get to the express road, and those one will now find a way to get to the lagoon or other stream and all that. That's the way all cities are built. Now, when you look at a place like Lagos, or you said for the fact that you did not see a sewage system or a gutter, doesn't mean it does not exist. All right. Now, human activities over the years are capable of blocking wherever you have existing gutters. Again, let's just stay in Lagos. You have economic activities of people throwing these bottled waters, they throw sachet water, all these things, and rubbish on them. They dump them. When they dump them, they find themselves into those gutters. And when they block them, as I said, water must find its way. Then water, rather than following the gutter, water will now come out from the gutter and look for instance, maybe at the end of the day, look for houses to. Same thing in estate. You may not see gutter there, but the question, do they exist? How about those people built upon those water? How are you sure that your activities of the building processing did not also block the waterways, and then find its level, it will route to pass through to where it is going to? It's the same thing. I don't work for government. I'm a journalist, and I know I'm an activist. But wherever there's blame, we must place those blames at the footstep of whoever is guilty. This issue, I sympathize with the Tredemore estate resident because we're all Nigerians. We should be taken care of. But when it's caused an infraction in a system, let's let if there are penalties, let the penalties be served, and then to serve as a deterrent, so that other people will know that when you encroach upon a for any recreation or for a sewage system, then there are consequences. This Tredemore estate that we're having to talk about.
I absolutely understand your point, and where you've made your stance clear
that
the building should be demolished. John is trying to get back in. Okay, well you've made your point clear, Charles Ideho, that the buildings should be demolished, and and then proper things done.
Not all buildings.
Those on the waterway.
So that I don't get crucified.
No problem. Those on the waterway.
If they find buildings that are on the water,
they should be
cause a setback so that they can be properly channeled. That's what I'm saying.
All right, but the spokesman for the residents in the estate said they have experts in the estate and they can talk to government. If government comes and speak to them, they have suggestions to proffer, as that will help alleviate the problem, as against demolishing the structures there, because these structures were built with money. Now I'm coming to a point now. If we say government should go ahead and demolish, do you think there should be avenues to compensate them? Considering the fact that
yes.
approval was sought and gotten to build, should they be compensated?
Yeah, there should be. First, you did say something about Adelaide said they have experts. They have suggestions to make. Now, I'm going to ask a rhetorical question. If you have an answer to it, you can advance that answer. The question is, all the suggestions they want to say, where were those suggestions before this calamity happened? Where were these suggestions? Why did they hold those suggestions? Why didn't they advance the suggestion before now? That's number one. Number two, to your questions. Yes, compensations are always paid to people. When you again, please permit me to come back again to my community here, because I'm very active here in my community. There's a road called Iju Water Walk Road. It's very popular within Agege axis of Lagos State. The Agege Ifakojayi. A very popular road. I think it's the major road on that axis. Now, that road, when government came to a place called Faba Junction, and then they said they were going to build a bridge because of the railway that's on that community, in that community I met. Now, houses were marked, they have these red decks they put on houses for marked for demolition and all that. Now, when the bulldozers came to demolish, before they did that, they did what they call assessment and all that to look at what is the value of this building. Even tenant, I know a tenant who is a member of my church who was paid, and then she used the money to get a flat somewhere. There are people whose buildings were caught, they were paid money, and they went to places that are lower in value, and they went to build houses over there, maybe Joko and all that. Yes, compensations are part of the whole thing. Let the government come to that estate, do an area appraisal, and then also do a proper assessment. Those of them whose building have been affected, they are Nigerians, they have a right to live anywhere. So all they need to do is to compensate them, perhaps move them, relocate them to somewhere else, flood prone. That's to that question.
All right, then. I believe that's your final thought, is it?
Say what?
I believe that's your final thought on the matter.
Well, if you
yes,
final thought.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Charles.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
then. We have John. John, let's have your final thoughts if you can hear us.
Thank you very much. I think Mr. Charles now came back to what I said earlier by rounding up. The government, that's it. The government is the alpha and the omega. The government should be plain to people in terms of land planning. No, these areas are earmarked. Let me even ask you, in Lagos that you are, do you know the number of areas that are earmarked for farming purposes? Because you don't even know. Government should be plain in that regard. Now, for every to build a structure in a same clan gets approved, so everything still falls back to the table of the government. If people say they want to go mad, government should tell them, you can't go mad in this state. This is our state. All right? That's my point to Mr. Charles. It's not about being militant, but the government must just be responsive and come to his own duty.
John,
Gentlemen,
thank you.
this is where we'll end the show. I understand that both of you are passionate, that both of you are journalists, and you like to let you want your voices to be heard. We honestly appreciate you staying with us on the program. When we come back and have this topic again, then we can go head to head. But in the meantime, we appreciate you. Thank you very much, Charles Ideho, public affairs commentator,
and John Akerele.
Thank you. John is also a public affairs commentator. Thank you very much.
All right. So up next is entertainment. We need to, of course, let you know what's going on in the world of entertainment. And this time around, we'll be with Kayla. We'll take a breather for that. Stay with us.